Everyone. Good evening. Jai Hind. I hope I am properly audible and visual to all of you. Good evening. I hope I am properly audible and visual to everyone. Good evening, Mushkan. Good evening, Shaheen, Megha. Good evening. Good morning. Good morning, Avnish. So, yeah, in few hours we will reach the morning also. Okay, so welcome to the session. Welcome to the session. Let's start our current affair topic discussion for the day. In this week, we are having the current affair classes at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. For this week only, we are having it for 8 to 9 p.m. After that, we will again start with 5 to 6 p.m. Okay. So see, in today's session, we are going to discuss first thing the previous month revision. We will do that today. Plus, we will talk about four important topics. One is artificial intelligence. Second thing is agriculture. In the last session, some of you have asked me about the agriculture sector, that what is the major challenge in it. So we are going to see it one by one. Then we will talk about this one issue that Manipur CM has quitted, he has resigned. So when a CM resigns, what happens and what is there in case of precedent rule? So that is also going to be one of our topic for discussion. And we will also talk about this Baltic countries, that what are Baltic nations, where they are located, their significance and everything. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss in today's session. Okay. Now, in today's class, I have not been able to add the environment related questions, but I will try my best that tomorrow onwards we are able to discuss that also. Okay. Now let's start with some practice question. These are related with the topics which we have already discussed in the previous weeks. Okay. The first question is with respect to this Navik. How many of the following is correct with respect to Navik? Okay. First is saying it provides standard positioning services and restricted services to all citizens of India. All the satellites has been placed in high Earth orbit. It will become operational by 2030. So there is three statements. We have already seen this topic in the past. So tell me how many of them are correct. Okay, one answer from Shiv Shankar as option A. Yes, I think most of the people are going for option A, and that is correct also. We have seen the restricted services is not available to all the citizens. It is available only to the military personnel. Okay, or even like some defense services, they will be allowed this. All the satellites have been placed in high Earth orbit. That is correct. It will become operational by 2030. That is incorrect. Already operational since 2018. So answer here will be option 1. Okay. See the second question. How many of the following is correct with respect to PM Surya Ghar scheme? It can be availed by those people who have got valid electricity connection. It cannot be provided to people living in rented house. It has been launched by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Tanushri, the Hindi classes are conducted at 6 p.m. on the second channel, KGS IAS Hindi. Okay, here answer is option B from SKV and option A. Okay. About National Park also we will discuss. Don't worry, we will discuss that also. B option, which one is incorrect? See, this first option is correct. It can be availed by those people who have got valid electricity connection. That is correct. It cannot be provided to people living in rented house. That is incorrect. It has been launched by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So of course you know that it is PM Surya Ghar scheme. So of course there will be linkage of Ministry of New and Renewable. So answer B, only 2 will be correct. Okay. Now coming to third one, how many of the following tributaries of Indus originate in India? Satluj, Chenab, Ravi and Beas river. Okay. So how many of them are originating within India? Statement 2 is incorrect, correct. So this is one question with respect to this option. How many of the following tributaries of Indus originate in India? Option B. Okay, fine, let's see this. If we talk about Satluj, where do we have origin of Satluj? We have this origin of Satluj in Mansarovar, Raksas Tal. Here we have Mansarovar, Raksas Tal. This is where in Tibet we have the origin of this Satluj river. Ravi river and Beas river, it originates near this Rohtang Pass. Where is the origin of Satluj? Sorry, where is this origin of Chenab? Chenab is made up of two tributaries, Chandra and Bhaga. Chandra and Bhaga. And they originate near this Baralachala. Baralachala Pass is there. So that is in Himachal Pradesh. It is there in Himachal Pradesh. So here this second option is correct. Ravi is correct. Beas is correct. Answer will be option C. That is only 3. Remember, Indus and Satluj are two rivers which originate outside India. The northernmost and the southernmost. Remember, the four other rivers which are there, they originate within India. If we talk about Jhelum also, it originates near this Verinag spring. Okay. So Jhelum also originates in India. Then we have Chenab also in India, Ravi also in India, Beas also in India. So these are the rivers which originate in India. Indus originates outside India, Bokharchu Glacier. If we talk about one more, Indus, that is Bokharchu Glacier in Tibet. So here we have the answer as option C, only 3. Okay. So these were the 3 questions with respect to the previous month's revision task. Okay. Now we are coming to one topic, like recently this AI Action Summit is going to be organized. I have told you last month also that we are going to have a AI summit in France. We are going to have this AI summit in France. Okay. Now this summit is going to start from tomorrow. Once that summit happens, India and France are co-chairing this. India and France are co-chairing this meeting. So once this summit happens, if there is some very innovative things coming out of it, we will discuss that too. Okay. But for the present time, let us discuss a little bit about artificial intelligence. Okay. In the artificial intelligence, there are 2 concepts. One is artificial neural network. One thing is artificial neural network, and There is second thing which is called as machine learning, which is called as machine learning. So there are two basic foundational concepts behind this artificial intelligence. One is simply called as artificial neural network. Basically, this is a neural network. Like in our brain, we are having neurons. So in same manner, this is an artificial network mimicking the functioning of neurons. Okay. So it is an artificial network mimicking the working of human neurons. Working of human neurons. Okay. And machine learning. Machine learning is nothing but basically the concept which human also do. Like we learn from our mistake. Like right now we have got this one incorrect answer. You all have said initially B, then you change your answer to C. Now you will be able to like memorize this for a longer period of time. When you are doing mistake and you are changing it also, you are able to memorize it for a longer period of time. So the second concept here in case of artificial intelligence is also machine learning, which is basically learning from experiments and mistakes. So this artificial intelligence is evolutionary in nature. This is evolutionary in nature. It evolves with respect to time. It evolves with respect to time. So that is the basic concept behind artificial intelligence. Okay. Now there are so many pros and cons of it, which we will discuss at some point of time. Like we have discussed in the past also, what are the pros and cons of artificial intelligence. But right now, if we talk about artificial intelligence, why we are specifically discussing this topic? We are discussing it in light of the budget of India. Okay. In light of budget of India, there has been two keywords. There has been two keywords with respect to AI in India. Okay. Budget and economic survey combined. We have two different keywords. One is human-centered automation. One thing is simply human-centered automation. Human-centered automation. That we are talking about AI, which is human-centric in nature. Our artificial intelligence should not be focused just on efficiency, just on improving the profitability, just not on the capitalist part or just not on this materialistic world. It should be human centric. Okay. So there is first part, like in the economic survey, it is written that in India, if we are going to develop the AI system, or if the world is developing AI system, it has to become human centric. Otherwise, technology will create a divide rather than facilitating the people. Okay. So it should be an enabler. It should be an enabler. It should be something empowering tool. Empowering tool. Okay. It should create employment for people, not take away their employment. Okay. So it should also be giving them employment. It should be giving them employment. It should be giving them ease of living. Ease of living. Okay. And at the same time, it should be environment friendly. It should be environment friendly. So here what we see that AI should become an enabler, means it should enable people, it should help them, it should empower them, it should be providing them employment rather than taking the employment away from them. It should help them with the ease of living. It should also help them in case of environmental sustainability. So that is one part. It should be human-centered automation. Okay. Then the second important keyword is labor augmentation versus labor replacement. So what has been said that AI should be the one which can be a labor augmentation tool, not the labor replacement tool. Like across the world, people are talking about this, that AI can do this instead of people. If AI can do everything instead of people, so we should remove the people, we should only have AI then. But you know that AI will not be there if people are not there. Okay. So AI should become a tool for augmenting the labor, means it should be refining their skill. Okay. So labor augmentation means refining the skill of the labor. Refining the skill of labor. It should be helpful to, like what we say, that eliminating the risk for labor. Risk for labor. So these are the two keywords which you have to keep in mind. Like if you are getting any AI related question, use two keywords, that AI should become the one which can help in labor augmentation rather than labor replacement. And AI should be such a tool which should be developed like human centric approach. So that is one part which was there as part of economic survey also, that how this AI should be developed in India. So this is all part of the eco survey which was recently released. Okay. So like we have discussed in past also some things with respect to AI, something with respect to other things like cotton mission and everything. So in that regard itself, here we are talking about AI also. Okay. Now, 4 challenges has been identified. 4 challenges. One of the major challenge which has been identified as part of AI is its like practicality. How we are going to make the practical use of AI. Find that AI is a very good tool. AI is a very good tool. But the practicality, how we are going to use this AI in the practical life, in the day-to-day life. Okay. So one thing is practicality. Application of AI in day-to-day life. Like we are saying that AI is very good. We are always saying that AI is very good, it can do this or that. But can it become practical for all the common people? Or will it be concentrated again to a few elite section? Like if AI is becoming common tool, if AI is becoming an enabler, so it should be helping everyone. Like if I need something, AI should be providing it to me. AI should be providing it to me, like if I need any information, if I need anything. So it should help me rather than me spending a lot of time on how to use AI system in a good manner. Okay. So that is one of the challenge. Second thing is reliability. Like the authenticity of information. The authenticity of information, that is one of the major challenge. Right now what we see that it is suffering from bias. It is suffering from bias. AI has been trained using a few portions of the entire demography of the world. AI has been trained by a few section of the society. So there is an inherent bias in AI that we can see. Okay. The third thing which we can see is infrastructure. Like AI will require huge amount of data storage and processing. huge amount of data storage and processing will be required. So we have to build those infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure and everything. Okay. So infrastructure requirement for data processing or storage. We require that also. And fourth thing, the resources. Resources. In resources, there is human resource also. Human resource, capital, and even energy, etc. Okay. So these resources are also required. You cannot develop the AI system without capital investment, without human tools or human resource, or without energy requirements and other resources which are required, finance also, marketing also. All these things are required for development of AI, and that remains a challenge in India right now. Okay. So I hope that is clear. What is the requirement in case of AI? Where can I find PDF of this session? Rishi, you can get it on the Telegram channel of KGS IAS. Okay. On Telegram channel of KGS IAS, the PDF will be provided. So from there you can get this. Okay. Now, coming to the second topic, agriculture. The second topic which we have got is agriculture. Now, agriculture is a very broad section. Agriculture is a very broad section. But last time you have asked me, some of you have asked me that what are the challenges with respect to agriculture sector. So in today's session, we will talk just about the challenges. In tomorrow's session, we will talk about another part of it, that what steps has been taken by government with respect to agriculture. So this is part 1 of agriculture, the challenges. But before we go about the challenges, there are certain things which you have to know. Okay. The first thing is contribution to GDP. Contribution to GDP. And this is roughly equal to 16% as per the latest report from PIB. As per the latest report of PIB after the budget, it says that 16% is the approximate contribution of agriculture and allied activities. Okay. Here we have agriculture and allied activities, means related activities. Agriculture and allied activities means those things which are interlinked with agriculture. So they contribute nearly 16%. Okay. What we see that in the last 5 to 6 years, what government figure has said that financial year 17 to financial year 2023, during this period, growth rate has been roughly equal to 5%. Growth rate has been approximately 5%. That is one thing which has been highlighted. Okay. It also contributes nearly 13% of the export. Okay. Contributes to 13% of India's export. India's export. Now tell me one thing, one question from your side. What is the contribution of agriculture in case of employment in India? What is the contribution of agriculture in case of employment in India? How much contribution is there in case of employment? I think all of you have read this multiple times, that how much contribution of agriculture is there in employment. So tell me, how much it is contributing to employment? 55%. Okay. Anyone else? How much does it contributes to employment in India? It is approximately 55%, means it fluctuates between 52 to 54%. Okay. In the recent times, what we have seen that it is going sometimes even below 50. So on the safe side, you can write approximately 50%. Okay. Approx 50%. Okay. So that is still the contribution of agriculture to the employment. Okay. In allied activities, you can even like write up to 60% or more than 55%. But if we talk about agriculture, still around 50% of the people in India are getting this employment from agriculture. Okay. So that is the first few facts. Now in today's session, we will see the challenge part. In tomorrow's session, we will see the government steps regarding this. Okay. So let us see about the challenges. Now in challenges, we can divide it into three groups. One is production related. In case of production, there are multiple challenges, starting first with the land holdings. Okay. Size of land holding. Size of land holding. I think you know that this 70% farmers, 70% farmers less than 1 hectare of land. We have discussed this for a very long period of time that 85% have less than 2 hectare. But even in that 85%, look at this, 75% are actually having less than 1 hectare of land. So that is one part of it. Okay. Second thing which you can also see as part of this production side is the seed quality in India. Less yield as compared to global level. Okay. So our seeds are not very much refined, they are not germinating from time to time. So that remains one of the major challenge. Okay. Third part is capital requirement. Third part is capital requirement. What we see that near about half of the agriculture households are already in debt. So if they are in debt, it means that capital requirement or capital availability is quite low. Okay. 50% agri households in debt. So it means they are not having that much capital for purchasing quality of seeds, for use of technology, etc., etc. Okay. So next part is of course technological backwardness. Technological backwardness. We have seen that while the world is progressing towards use of drones, we have recently seen that government has announced this Namo Drone Didi scheme. We have discussed that scheme in the past. Okay. So we see that adoption of technology is quite late. Okay. Late adoption of technology. Late adoption of technology. No adoption of GM crops. No adoption of GM crops. Yes, of course GM crops have challenges, but then world is going for it, world is progressing in case of agriculture, we are not. Okay. So there is one thing, we are not using the GM crops. That is also one part. Okay. Then the next part is soil quality. Soil quality. What we see that degradation of land due to excessive irrigation and fertilization. Excessive irrigation and fertilization. And why this is happening? This is happening because of subsidy. This is happening because of subsidy. So if you keep selling the fertilizers at a very highly subsidized rate, then it is going to impact. Then it is going to have some impact. So that is also one of the challenge. Then next part is knowledge. Knowledge. Agriculture is not done in a scientific manner in India. Agriculture is done mostly when people are having limited degrees with respect to other things. Nowadays, generally it is seen that some people are doing agriculture with proper knowledge, but their numbers are few. The majority of the farmers lack awareness about crop cycle. Most of their knowledge is traditional knowledge. Okay. So agriculture done in agriculture on basis of traditional knowledge. Now it is not that traditional knowledge is not good. It is not that traditional knowledge is not good, but the times have changed. We are living in an age of global warming and climate change. So the traditional knowledge which used to be valid 50 years ago or 100 years ago, that may not be relevant in the present times. So one of the major challenges, we are still in the traditional knowledge phase, whereas the world is going for scientific agriculture. So that is production related challenge with respect to agriculture in India. Okay. Second part, if you look here itself, one of the another challenge is harvest part. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that will be conducted tomorrow, Harshita. Polity sessions tomorrow morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. Yes. Now, if we look at the harvest part, there is two challenges. For harvest, either you need machines or you need labor. Okay. Lack of mechanization. Lack of mechanization. Lack of mechanization means we are not using machines. Why we are not using machines? Two major reasons. Why? Two major reasons. Size of land holdings. Size of land holdings. Second thing is capital. First, the land holdings are very much small. You cannot run machines in that efficiently. Second thing, capital requirement. You need to have machines or you need to rent the machines which are very costly. So that is also one of the challenge. Second thing, you can have manual labor. You can have manual labor. But what we see that in many of the states, people are migrating towards urban areas for job. So now what is happening? Shortage of labor. Shortage of labor due to two things, migration plus MG Narega. Okay. So shortage of labor. Again, two regions, migration and MG Narega. So that creates a challenge of labor also. The third part is, in the harvest section. In the harvest section is post-harvest management. Now, here you will find that lack of cold chains, lack of cold chain infrastructure, cold storage and everything which is required, that is also missing. Second thing is lack of awareness, about storage of crops. Okay, that is also. Third, climate induced uncertain weather condition, that is also a challenge. Climate change induced uncertain weather condition. So farmers are not able to manage even the crops which they have harvested. So that also remains a challenge for the farmers in the case of harvest section also. Okay. Then after the harvest, another thing is, suppose you have got the grains, now you have to sell it. So next major challenge is marketing. In the marketing section, again you will find that first thing, can they sell? If we talk about agriculture, can they sell? Those farmers who are having, how MG Narega has shifted the agricultural labor to other sectors, like they can be used for making roads, they can be used for doing other activities. Now, it may happen that during the time of agriculture itself, they are getting engaged in other activities like digging ponds, making roads, doing some other works. So that creates a shortage of labor supply for agriculture. Even if labor is available, it is at a higher cost due to lack of supply. So it raises the input cost of agriculture. Rise of input cost will reduce the profitability of the farmers. Okay. So lack of labor, increase in cost, lack of profitability. Okay. That is the reason behind MG Narega. Okay. Now, can they sell? First thing, majority farmers go for subsistence agriculture. Can you tell me what is subsistence agriculture? Anyone? Can you tell me this part? What is subsistence agriculture? What is this subsistence agriculture? Anyone? That is basically for self-consumption. Subsistence agriculture means only for self-consumption. So first thing is, they are not getting the profit from the agriculture. They are having a small land holdings. From there, the crops which they are cultivating, that is barely sufficient to meet their requirement. How they will sell it? It is barely sufficient to meet their requirement. That is also one of the challenge. Second major challenge is, like even if they are selling it, the access to the market. Now, how this is impacted? You will find that in the markets, there is dominance of middleman. There is dominance of middleman who are basically taking away the profits from the farmer. Okay. Second is transportation challenges. Transport challenges. Third is lack of awareness about market rates. So there is a lack of awareness also about the market rates, that also hinders their potential to sell it in the market. Okay. Then we also have another thing, MSP, minimum support price, benefit only to 6% farmers, highly localized in some regions, in some states. So these are a few challenges of agriculture. This entire comprehensive list which we have prepared, these are only a few challenges of agriculture. The other major challenges are the climate, other challenges if we want to write other challenges. So there are other challenges also, one of which is climate uncertainties, climate change in simple. Second, another challenge is global competition. Then social change or social challenge. Okay. Right now, just to give you an example, if there is someone who is engaged in agriculture and there are two people, suppose there are two people, one who is a IAS officer, one who is a very good settled agriculture, or one who is a very good farmer. So normally if society has to judge two people, one who is a IAS officer, one who is a farmer, so generally they will consider that the person who is IAS officer is really something very he is very bright, he is very intelligent and all, whereas there is a person who is doing agriculture. So normally people will say that he has not been able to do something else, that's why he is continuing with agriculture. So agriculture is not seen as a very good thing in our society. Now of course at some extent this is changing, but this will still take a long time for the society to adapt this part, that doing agriculture is also a job and is equally valuable as being a IAS officer or being a IITN or being from IIMs or other places. Okay. This is also a equivalent job. Okay. So that is one part. A social change, a social status challenge is also there. Okay. If people are doing agriculture, then how much they are getting their privilege in the society, that also becomes one of the challenge. That is why what we see that many people are shifting away from agriculture, and just writing Annadata in budget is not going to help change this narrative. We need grassroots change at the social level, societal level. Okay. Global competition. There are many countries who are exporting the food items to India. There are many countries which are also exporting the food items to India. There is export of pulses towards India. There is export of edible oil towards India. There is export of grains towards India. There is export of potatoes, onions, tomatoes towards India. We are getting exported grains also. In many other food items, we are also getting the export challenge. Dairy sector is facing the challenge. Okay. So there is import of these food items from other countries also, where you have lesser cost. Okay. So that is the challenge. I hope this part is clear. The second important topic, agriculture. Now, coming to the third topic, Manipur. Now, in this part, we are going to see that two aspects of this. What happens when a chief minister resigns? Second thing, implications of precedent rule. So here we are going to talk about two topics. First thing, what happens when CM resigns? Second, precedent rule. So these two dimensions we are going to discuss. Okay, precedent rule plus what happens when the chief minister resigns. Okay. So tell me, if a chief minister of a state resigns, then what will happen? Will any other minister would be appointed as the chief minister, or how it is going to function? How this will operate? If a chief minister is resigning, so what will be the next step? It can be chief minister, it can be prime minister. So what is the impact of this? What is the impact of this? If chief minister is resigning, what is going to be the possible impact of it? Anyone? No idea. See, there is a simple convention. There is a simple convention. They swim together and sink together. They swim together and sink together. There is a concept of collective responsibility. Okay. There is a concept of this, like a collective responsibility. If the CM resigns, it means the entire government resigns. Okay. So resignation of CM is equal to resignation of entire Council of Ministers. Entire Council of Ministers, they will also resign. Okay. So this resignation of CM is equal to resignation of the entire Council of Ministers. Then after, of course, the governor of that state will impose the precedent rule. Okay. They will impose the precedent rule for some time, and then after they can ask the other or the single largest party or the coalition to present their part of forming the government. Okay. So what will happen then? After this, there is imposition of precedent rule. Imposition of precedent rule. And at the same time, new government may form. Okay. So even if the same political party can again be given this option that okay, you can form the government. If the CM is resigning, the same political party which is having the largest majority, they can still go for proving their majority with new leader, and then they can form the government. Otherwise, there will be imposition of precedent rule, and then there can be also dissolution of the state assembly. After that, there can be fresh elections in that area. So even dissolution of the state assembly can also take place. Okay. It can be done. If no party can form majority, if nothing is coming forward, then governor can even dissolve the assembly. There can be fresh elections also. Okay. Now, if there is a precedent rule, so what will be the implication of that? Like if precedent rule is imposed, the first thing is suspension of a state government. There is first thing, suspension of state government. But see, dissolution of the state assembly is not always necessary. Okay. Dissolution is not always necessary. Okay. So write I am writing this point here itself. Dissolution not always necessary. Dissolution of legislative assembly not always necessary. Okay. Now, of course, the governor will be acting on behalf of president. You know that governor will act on behalf of president direction. That is a common thing. Parliament gets the legislative power. Okay. So here what we see that Parliament gets legislative power. Parliament gets this legislative power. What can be the maximum extent of the president rule in any state? For how many days there can be imposition of president rule? For how many days we can have imposition of this president rule? Three years. Okay. So see, generally it is done for 6 months. Maximum extent is up to 3 years. And every time there will be an approval from the parliament. Okay. So applied for 6 months. 6 months can be extended max for 3 years. Parliament approval is always required. Parliament approval is required even for 6 months or extension for 6 months, further extension for 6 months. But at one time, it is extended only for 6 months. So after every 6 months, there will be a requirement of approval by the parliament. Okay. So after every 6 months, there will be a requirement of parliament's approval. Not the president approval, parliamentary approval is required. Okay. Now there is one simple question. Can this decision of the governor to impose president rule, can this decision be reviewed by the court or not? Can court review the decision of imposition of president rule? Judicial review, is it allowed or not? Judicial review of president rule. Can it be done or not? Okay. Remember this part. Yes, it can be done. Okay. So yes, it can be done. Now tell me, who will be doing this? Who will be doing this? High Court or Supreme Court? Can High Court review? Can High Court review this president rule? Who will be doing this? Yes, remember this part, it can be done by both the courts, High Court as well as Supreme Court. Remember this part, president rule can be, no, not only for Supreme Court. This is not an interstate dispute. This is not an interstate dispute. High Court can review this decision to impose president rule. Okay. So High Court as well as Supreme Court both can do this part. Okay. So it can be done by High Court as well as Supreme Court. Both have this power to review the judgment, review this imposition of president rule. Okay. It is the action of the governor. It is the action of the governor, or governor recommends this imposition of precedent rule. So of course governors' decisions can be questioned in the High Court. It can be questioned in the High Court for this matter. So yes, High Court can do this. High Court at multiple occasions has overturned the decision of the governor for imposition of precedent rule at many occasions. Recently it was done perhaps in Haryana also. Okay. So it can be done by High Courts also. Okay. So this is one part about the third topic. Now one last topic, that is Baltic nation. Okay. So why this is there in the news? Why this there is in the news? Baltic states, they have said that they will switch to European power grid, ending the Russia ties. Okay. So can you tell me what are Baltic states and why they are famous? What are who are the Baltic states and why they are famous? Baltic nations and why they are famous? There was a recent case in Himachal Pradesh. Uttarakhand, not Uttarakhand. Not Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. Okay. So in Uttarakhand, there was removal of the chief minister and there was imposition of precedent rule. Okay. So Uttarakhand High Court told the government that if a precedent rule is imposed, it doesn't mean that High Court cannot review it. It simply made a comment that precedents can be horribly wrong at some times. So High Court retains that power to review the imposition of precedent rule. They can overturn the decision of governor for imposing the precedent rule, or for precedent's action also. They can overturn this. Okay. So High Courts do have the power to null and void the decisions of precedent or even the government, the union government. So High Courts do have power to change that. Okay. So it was done recently in that Uttarakhand also. Uttarakhand High Court, they have said that the precedents can be horribly wrong. That was one statement which was made. Okay. Now, Baltic states, these are the places in news, and basically yes, there are three countries. One is Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. There are three countries. Okay. There is one thing, Latvia, Estonia and even your Lithuania. These are the three states which are called as Baltic nations. Okay. Why they are called as Baltic nations? Because they share the border with the Baltic Sea. Okay. They share border with Baltic Sea. Now if you look at their history, they got independence from this Russia or USSR at that time in 1910. Okay. So they were like separated from USSR in 1910. After the Second World War, after 1945, again they joined USSR, and in 1990 they have again separated themselves from USSR. Okay. So they have got independence here, they have got independence here. So within 1 century, they have got independence two times. One in 1910, they got separated from USSR. Then after the Second World War, they rejoined USSR. After the disintegration of USSR, they again became independent. So they are located on the eastern side of Russia, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. Okay. Now they have ended their ties, like you can see, this is the news. They have switched to European power grids. They have ended the Russian ties. Okay. So that's why they have been there in the news. The Baltic nations, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Okay, so these are the three places. Okay, yes, they are littoral countries of the Baltic Sea, hence they are known as Baltic nations. Okay. Now, when even they joined the USSR in 1945 or later on, so they were the three parts which retained their original language. Although geographically they are not very much prominent, they do not have any such enormous resource, but they have their own culture and tradition which is separate from the Russian culture, and they are like celebrating that. Even when they joined USSR, they retained their language, they retained their culture, traditions and everything. Like Estonia, it has lakhs of folk music. Estonia is one country having lakhs of folk music, and the other countries which are also there, Latvia, Lithuania, they also retain, preserve their cultural heritage, language, etc., etc. So that is about Baltic nations. There is one thing which is remaining: the national park, biosphere reserve, and this wildlife sanctuary. So in tomorrow's session, I will cover that, and even the steps by government for agriculture in the recent sector. So these two topics are fixed for tomorrow, and then other topics which may be there. Okay. So I hope that is clear. Okay. Tomorrow we will see these two topics: national park, wildlife sanctuaries, plus biosphere reserves, and plus also the steps by government with respect to agriculture. Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Any doubt, any question? Okay, so let's meet tomorrow in the morning then. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. Tomorrow we will have questions revision of, we will have this revision of polity. Okay, so tomorrow at 8 a.m. we will have this revision of polity, and at 8 p.m. we will have this current affairs session in the evening. Okay, so thank you very much. Enjoy. Now the day is over, so enjoy your night. Okay. Thank you, Disha. I hope the questions also come in prelims exam. Like even if it is not coming in test series, at least it should come in the prelims and mains exam. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Good night. All the best. Thank you.